All right. So thanks so much for being on this podcast. I appreciate it. If you could start off by telling, a little bit about yourself and how you started, that'd be great, and we can go from there.
Well, my name is Kristin Kline, and I am the founder of Convicted Comeback. And that is a nonprofit that I started after I did time in Arizona State Prison. And it was my way of taking programs that I created that changed my life so that I could go back inside the prison and teach others how to change theirs based on fitness and mindset. That's Convicted Comeback.
What do you guys do at Convicted Comeback? Give me the nitty-gritty of it.
Okay, so um, we have multiple programs, and we go right now. We are in Arizona. We do fitness programs with the women, and we run boot camp and we run seniors classes, and they're based on movement and mobility. And then we go into the men's prisons and we talk to them about what we've done since we've changed our mindset through the base of fitness. And then we can certify them through our partner with ISSA.
Mm-hmm. So like what does that program do? How does that help sort of program help create a sense of empowerment or a sense of what's the word I'm looking for? A sense of I'd say renewal in
Yes.
someone's life. So how would you sort of respond to that?
So I'm sorry, I'm dripping, but I coach water aerobics. And so that's where you see
Hmm.
I have my towel here.
Yes.
So okay, before I could before I knew how to change, I was working out and I didn't realize it, but through constant fitness, I learned personal traits like consistency, accountability, and discipline. And before I knew it, those things accumulated and gave me a platform to which I held myself to a higher standard. And I realized that if I applied that to life, I might have the key for success after incarceration, success after addiction. And that's what our program is. It's all based around learning the traits you need to adult after trauma, and you can learn them through fitness.
Hmm. Now, is this a program just in Arizona or is it like nationwide or how are you guys like planning to grow?
Well, I publish on a lot of platforms, and we're small right now, but things are huge and quickly growing. Um, we have had other states looking at our programs. We have other states see our media footage and watch what we're doing. I mean, you found us. And
Hmm.
so eyes are watching. We have made some partners that are national. And one of the biggest things that we have coming up is in 2026, we're going to be featured at Arizona's Fitness Fest. This is an annual event and it is a national fitness conference. So after that opportunity, even more people will know who we are.
Hmm. And like what does this program how does it create sort of what's the impact that it has on the greater community? What message does that send?
I feel like there's a big mix in the community. And I never realized, but community is something that means something to me because it takes a village. And I thought that that was just a cliche saying until I realized that it actually does take a village, especially running programs inside of a prison. It's very difficult. And it's difficult before you're a felon. And now I'm a team of felons and there's non-felons on the team, but it's so funny that we're a bunch of felons carting in equipment, teaching programs inside of a prison. And we're a nonprofit. We don't get paid. We are solely relying on donations and any kind of partnerships that we can make. And so it does take the community. All of our equipment has been through donations. When we run Christmas programs or like the Cancer Walk program, that relies on donations from the community. And um, the biggest thing, I guess, would be when an inmate is released, they go into the community, and people forget that that's the case. And so it should be up to us to help make them better people, because when they are released, we want them to be a part of a better community. It just seems to go in full circle, except a lot of people do butt against that because there's still a big stigma on felons in general.
Mm-hmm. And let's address that stigma for a little bit while we're on the subject. What's that all about?
Well, it's been a long time thought that if you do something wrong, you should be punished. And if you're to be punished, it shouldn't be fun and there should not be a reward, and you should just do the work. And then, if granted, you can come back. That's kind of how it's looked at. But I can't tell you how many people are in prison because of traumatic situations that happen to them, usually when they're young, to the hands of somebody else. And then you bring in alcohol and drugs and violence to help, you know, calm or subdue that pain, and you just recreate more problems. And I think that proper healing needs to occur to go back to the community part, like I said, because they will reenter society. Even the ones that aren't, they're still human. And I feel like we should be called to a certain standard of decency. But these are mothers and daughters and grandmothers, that are going to get out to children and raise them. And so we should be lifting them up instead of wanting to watch them suffer. And I see that a lot, and I'm the first to say, and it's what I coach through our programs too. Take accountability. If you can't take accountability for what you've done wrong, you don't deserve that second chance. Of course, people aren't going to believe you, and they're going to have fear for you, and they're going to second, everything that you say and question and watch. Of That's expected. But once you prove and you do the work, I do believe that people should be given that opportunity, that chance.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna address this big question at the end, but my next question that I wanted to ask is, what have you learned in doing this kind of work?
The list is forever long. Okay, so the biggest thing that I learned was about me. The whole reason I do what I do is because I felt purpose for the first time. Through purpose, I inspired drive, and the momentum just kept rolling. And the more authentic I became and shared with others, the more I was able to give away whatever Convicted Comeback is. So, my biggest takeaway was how beautiful community is. I thought that Convicted Comeback was something that belonged to me. I thought that it was mine. And I realized that if I brought more people in and they could participate in Convicted Comeback, we could truly become a widespread mission. And now I have a tribe. Convicted Comeback is a tribe. Like, we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
We're amazing
Mm-hmm.
people that show up and do the work, and we have this understanding of whatever we have, we're going to give it away. And that was the biggest thing. I spent my life being selfish. Addicts are selfish. Alcoholics are selfish. And the biggest reward comes from giving it all away. Whatever you have, you give it away. So my knowledge, my expertise in fitness and exercise and movement, and apparently just the leadership mentality and my optimism, I can spread that to others.
Mm-hmm. And what is there something that you would like to learn in terms of something new while you're executive director or curious about?
Yes, always. Knowledge is so amazing. I am constantly trying to learn how to do all of the ins and outs of a nonprofit. There's so much to it because you're not just, especially in my position, and I'm blessed to have such an amazing team of people that work with us, but you have to be the boss and you have to be the bookkeeper and you have to be the program developer and you have to be the PR guy and the media, and it's like constant. And I would love to learn streamline ways to do things. I would love to learn how to be a better grant writer so that I could actually get paid for what I do, which would just in turn allow me to do more. um but in due time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the big question that I was going to address, and this is the big one here. We talked a lot about stigma around, people who felons and people who are in those kinds of situations. So how do you educate the people, how that okay, felons, they do deserve a second chance. They are a part of the community.
I think it works like honesty. So you have to build up that trust. And that's just a consequence to doing the crime, I think. When you're a kid and you lie to your parents the first time, they're going to second guess you the next time. And if it continues to happen, there is no more trust there. The bridge is broken. And so I think it's up to the felons to change the minds of people. It takes the multitudes of us that choose to do different and choose to do different over a long period of time. And that's what it will take to show the community that change is possible. People do change. And everybody just needs a little bit of hope sometimes. There's always going to be that one person, that they don't want any better. But a lot of people, they just need somebody to believe in them and give them that little bit of a shove, and they're fine. They'll do the rest of the work.
Mm-hmm. I know I said that was my last question, but this is my bonus one. So, like for people who want to work, with felons or who have or prison population, because it really happens in the mental health space where some mental health practitioners, they work in prisons and all that stuff. So like, given your experience and sort of your role as an executive director, what tips of advice would you give to those mental health professionals who want to work with that population?
Oh, well, it's a doozy. Um, I mean, anybody who wants to work inside the prison or in recovery or in transition, kudos, because it is not a typical business and it is not your normal gig. And you have to learn hardcore flexibility and listen. You think maybe as a physician of some type that you listen, you have to listen even more because the inmates are a very different, we have such a different mindset inside. And I think across the board, especially women, it's a bit different for men, I'm sure, but they're searching for somebody to just listen to them. And you will find out a lot about somebody when you give them the time. And I think that that's a two-part question because it would be if you wanted to work inside the prison, you needed to understand that working with the system and the prison itself is going to be its own feat. And
Hmm.
then with the incarcerated will be a journey of its own. And every day is going to be different. If you go in expecting that things are going to work a certain way, that's not how it's going to be
Hmm.
because every day is different. You never know what you're going to get inside. And you just have to go with the flow and then spread the love.
Yeah, exactly. On that note, okay.